Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Michael Edwards, and I'm the chairman for the Kappa Debate Challenge. We're in our semi-championship debate, and we're excited, super excited, to have New Rochelle Alumni Chapter versus Alexandria-Fairfax Alumni Chapter. The topic for today, public schools should have armed security officers. The affirmative team, New Rochelle, will present their case against Alexandria-Fairfax, which holds the negative position. Each team will present their case, followed by rebuttals, and then closing remarks. There are some questions embedded within the affirmative case, and then there are breakout rooms throughout. We will end the debate with closing remarks from the negative team and then by the affirmative team. At this time, we'll make sure that the affirmative team, New Rochelle, are you prepared for your debate?
I'm prepared for my debate.
Outstanding. And Alexandria-Fairfax, are you prepared for the debate?
We are prepared for our debate.
Great. The affirmative case will be presented by New Rochelle. You'll have 5 minutes to present your case. I will give you a warning at the 3-minute mark, at the 2-minute mark, and the 1-minute mark. Be real brief. 3 minutes remaining, 2 minutes remaining, 1 minute remaining. You'll begin your presentation on my mark or my time when I say begin, and that's when your time will start. At that point, you'll also have questions coming from the negative team. I'll pause between each one to make sure that we've got a clear understanding of who's going to be presenting the case and those questions. All right, New Rochelle, who's going to be presenting the affirmative case for New Rochelle?
I will. Michael Jones Bay.
Could I hear your name again, young man? Great job.
Michael Jones Bay.
Awesome. All right. When you're ready, on my mark, you can begin your affirmative case. I'll start the time when you begin.
First, I would like to thank the judges and moderator for taking the time out of your day to make this debate round possible, Kappa League for putting on this challenge, and lastly, to my opponents for being here. Hello, my name is Michael Jones Bay. I am the affirmative speaker representing the New Rochelle White Plains Kappa League chapter from New York, and we affirm the resolution. Resolved, U.S. public schools should have armed security officers. Definitions: armed, to be equipped with or carrying a weapon or weapons, including non-lethal weapons such as tasers and pepper spray. Security guard, a person whose job it is to guard a place and make sure the people and things in it are not harmed, including school resource officers or SROs, which are sworn law enforcement officers responsible for safety and crime prevention in schools. Our value for today's round is safety, and our value criterion is maximizing the ability for a school to protect itself. We would accomplish this by having at least one armed guard in public schools because we'd rather have the resource and not need it than be in a situation where we need the resource and don't have it. Typical school security measures fail. Previous methods to prevent school violence have failed for decades. Wesley G. Jennings, a PhD professor from the University of South Florida, published a study which measured school security, including access control doors, security cameras, metal detectors, a written plan for school shooting incidents, and a hotline for reporting trouble. This research regarding school protective measures designed to reduce the opportunity for crime generally suggests that such measures are ineffective. Further, only one of the variables that was statistically significant for high schools was that in schools where security was armed with OC spray, threatened weapon attacks were significantly lower. Schools that use non-armed officers as crime prevention fail compared to those armed with non-lethal weapons. Arming an officer does not only mean firearms, but also includes other forms of arms, such as pepper spray and tasers, which have better proven effects on school safety. Armed security officers have led to a decrease in violent crime in public schools. According to the NY State School Board, the presence of an SRO led to a 52.3% decrease in the arrest rate for assaults. There was also a 72.9% decrease in arrests involving possession of a weapon on school property. The report accounts for the increase in armed security officers to lower arrest rates as both students and parents feel safer with them on campus. With the ever-increasing epidemic of gun violence on students, schools need to have every available resource at their disposal to ensure the safest environment possible. Armed security officers in schools can respond faster and deter acts of violence before they occur. Armed security officers, including SROs, are the preferred crime prevention approach. SROs are best suited to respond to crime on campus. The National Association of School Resource Officers, or NASRO, provides the highest quality training to school-based law enforcement officers. SROs are uniquely equipped with the expertise, training, and national guidelines based on lessons learned over 6 decades. Having at least one SRO allows for adding school resources to prepare for tragic mass shooting events or other violent incidents. We cannot 100% fix these issues, but we have a moral and federal obligation to provide the best in the field to ensure the safest environment. Again, it is better to have the resource and never use it than to be stuck in a situation that could have been resolved by an armed security officer. These armed security officers in schools are proven to be successful. Ronald Stevens, executive director of the National School Safety Council, agrees, saying trained officers carrying weapons can help prevent a shooting inside a school and deter a possible shooter from entering. We aren't pushing to have entire squads of armed security officers in public schools, but to have at least one, so in the event of violent crimes, lives can be saved and schools can more appropriately and promptly respond to crime in school. All other forms of crime prevention fail at much higher rates than the presence of armed security officers in public schools, and we have an obligation to implement the most life-saving protocols. For these reasons, we urge an affirmative ballot. I yield my time.
Great job, New Rochelle. I've stopped your minutes. You had about 30 seconds remaining. You've yielded your time for your affirmative case. Alexandria-Fairfax, good afternoon. You will be providing a person from your team to ask questions. Who's that person going to be from the Alexandria-Fairfax team?
Matthew Trimble.
Good afternoon, Matt.
Good afternoon, Mr. Moderator.
Great. Let me give you 3 minutes now to ask questions of the affirmative case. And you'll be asking those questions starting on my mark. When you're ready, please begin your 3 minutes.
Given a school shooting, which do you think would be an effective way in stopping a school shooting? A gun, a baton, or mace?
All of those are armed security. All of those means a security guard is armed. So I don't see how that question is relevant to the debate.
No. What I asked is, what do you think would be the most effective? A gun, a baton, or mace?
Again, that's not really relevant to the debate, as this is about whether armed security officers are armed or not.
Would you say your team did a fair amount of research on this topic?
I would.
Speaking specifically on mass shootings, did you find any instances where an armed security officer on premises stopped the shooting? A simple yes or no will suffice.
Well, in our evidence, we actually have many benefits of these armed security officers.
No, do you have a specific example of it working? Simply yes or no.
2 minutes.
Okay, next question. Are you aware that most school shootings are committed by people who struggle with mental health issues?
Again, I don't see how that question is relevant to the debate.
Are you aware that most school shootings are committed by people who struggle with mental health issues?
We aren't arguing about mental health issues. We're trying to argue about whether security
yes or no.
schools are
Yes
armed or not. Again, that question is not relevant to this debate.
Have you seen the article from the FBI entitled "The School Shooter: A Quick Reference Guide"? It is basically a guide that profiles a school shooter. So if we have the blueprint to identifying, wouldn't you agree that it's better to spend resources to identify and treat prospective shooters before they become shooters?
Well, having at least one SRO allows us to do that and add to school resources. And again, Ronald Stevens, according to our evidence, agrees, saying that trained officers carrying weapons can help prevent a shooting inside a school and deter a possible shooter from even entering at all.
I said, would you agree that it's better to spend resources to identify and treat the prospective shooters before they become shooters, basically eliminating the problem before it started, not stopping it after it happened using the SRO?
We can do both. I'm not arguing against that, but having an armed security officer also exponentially has benefits because they deter a possible shooter from entering in the first place.
No further questions, Mr. Moderator.
That's time. Great job, both gentlemen. Great job. At this time, Alexandria-Fairfax, you are the negative team. It's now time for you to present your negative case. Who's going to be presenting that negative case for you over the next 5 minutes?
Samson Boyd.
Great. I'm going to set the timer for 5 minutes. At this time, Alexandria-Fairfax is going to present the negative case. When you're ready to begin, I'll start your time.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. My name is Samson Boyd, and I'm a freshman at South County High School in Lorton, Virginia, and I represent the Alexandria-Fairfax Kappa League. We are here today to argue against this statement that public schools should have armed security officers. As a basis for our argument, we would like to introduce 3 basic points. 1, armed security officers come at the expense of teachers and counselors and social workers. 2, the introduction of armed security officers into our school perpetuate a school-to-prison pipeline. And 3, bringing guns into the school, even in the hands of trained officers, introduces an unnecessary risk and is largely ineffective. If I may bring your attention to our first point. According to an article by the American Civil Liberties Union of Washington, the Spokane School District spent anywhere from $62,000 to $125,000 annually for a full-time armed officer, while the range of salary of a school teacher in the same district is $51,000 to $67,000 annually, according to salaries.com. This is a problem and an initial indication that priorities are misguided. Even before the pandemic, it was widely argued that school teachers don't make enough money. And now, post-pandemic, at a time when schools across the country are struggling to find and keep teachers, it is more important than ever to incentivize teachers with a decent salary. Consider this, and I mean no disrespect to any chosen profession, but to be a teacher at any level, from elementary to high school, a college degree is required. There's no such requirement to be an armed guard in a school. These are schools we are talking about. Educators should absolutely be at the top of the salary chain in a school. There's no evidence that armed security officers are effective against school shootings, but properly trained teachers and counselors can go a long way towards identifying and correcting malicious behavior.
3 minutes.
To our second point, let's talk about the school-to-prison pipeline. The school-to-prison pipeline refers to policies and practices that push our nation's children out of classrooms and into juvenile and criminal justice systems.
Yep. Thank you. Did I get it? I think
But it's
I did, right?
policy and practices. In fact, just the presence of an armed officer in a school realizes this theory. Why is that? The truth is that Black communities are more policed than white communities, and now the same is true for our schools. It is clear to us when you are constantly policed, you begin to feel the need to be policed. But this is not just true of the students. The ACLU found that in majority white schools, officers claim the greatest concerns are external threats to schools. However, in majority Black schools, officers perceive the biggest threats as the students themselves, the people they need to be protecting. And finally, to our third point, the presence of a gun in the hand of a trained guard is no guarantee that a situation will be de-escalated or thwarted. In a study by the Journal of American Medical Association, there was a total of 133 school shootings that were studied from 1980 to 2019. It was found that 1 in 4 of the schools had armed guards on scene. But for those schools that had armed guards, the death rate was 2.8 times greater than the schools that didn't have armed guards. This study suggests that the presence of security weapons increases aggression, which is a phenomenon known as the weapons effect. Because of these facts and much research, we strongly oppose bringing armed officers into our schools. We yield back the remainder of our time.
Great job, Alexandria-Fairfax, for presenting your negative case. You yielded back 50 seconds of your negative case. At this time, you're going to be receiving questions from the affirmative team, New Rochelle. New Rochelle, who's going to be asking questions on the negative case for your team?
I will. Michael Jones Bet.
Good afternoon, young man.
Good afternoon.
You have 3 minutes to present questions to the negative team on their case. When you begin asking your questions, I'll start your time.
Are you aware that your county, Alexandria-Fairfax, reinstated SROs?
Can you repeat that question?
Are you aware that your county, Alexandria-Fairfax, reinstated SROs?
Yes, I am.
Do you know why?
No.
Well, the reason why was because violence in schools was becoming a problem because armed guards weren't able to deter school shooters and school violence from happening. Now I'll move to my next question. If an SRO is able to save one life, are they worth it? Yes or no?
Do you need? Teachers and counselors can save many more lives by preventing the school shooting.
No, I'm not talking about school counselors. If an SRO is able to save one life, yes or no, are they worth it?
2 minutes.
Sure.
Okay. Now, in your first point, you mentioned a source only in a specific county, but aren't we talking about U.S. public schools, not that specific county?
We are.
So doesn't that mean that that evidence doesn't fit the resolution as it is only specific to one county in all 50 states?
It was a study to reflect the effect of SROs and the lack of protection they provide. So it wasn't just for that county, but it showed how they affect all schools.
All right. Now, if an armed guard is able to deter a school shooting from even happening in the first place, are they worth it?
1
Yes
minute.
or no?
Wouldn't you say the same for school counselors that can prevent the
I'm
shooting?
not arguing against school counselors. In fact, school counselors would be a great addition to school security measures, but the resolution is about armed guards. Now, if they are able to deter a possible shooter, are they worth it? Yes or no?
I think it'd be more worth it to have more counselors that can deter the shooting.
Again, I'm not talking about school counselors. Yes or no?
No.
They are not worth it. They are not worth that money even if they can deter a possible shooting.
Guards cost more than counselors. So if you can have more counselors that can deter more shootings for the same amount of money, wouldn't you say that's worth it?
So you're putting a price on our students' lives and our children's lives.
No, that's what you're doing.
Time. Great job, young man. Great job, both teams. So that's the first part of this debate, are the affirmative case and the negative case by both teams. At this time, Brother Hogglebrook will put both teams in the first breakout room. Those breakout rooms will last for 3 minutes. So teams, now you'll be able to break off into your individual teams and talk about strategy for about 3 minutes. You'll get a countdown when those rooms are about to end, and we'll get back online. Brother Hogglebrook, let's put both teams in those breakout rooms for 3 minutes. Welcome back. Welcome back. We're in our semi-championship debate. The affirmative team, New Rochelle, versus the negative team, Alexandria-Fairfax, debating the topic of public schools should have armed security officers. We're moving into our second part of this debate, which are now the rebuttals. We just went into our first breakout room, and the affirmative team is prepared, and hopefully they are ready to present their rebuttal. That affirmative team is New Rochelle. New Rochelle, who's going to be presenting your affirmative rebuttal?
That will be me, Matthew Dodd.
Great, Matthew. Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you, sir?
Doing well. Thanks for asking.
Of course, good to hear.
All right. So when you're ready, you're going to present the affirmative rebuttal for your team, New Rochelle. But before we start, Alexandria-Fairfax, are you back? Are you prepared?
Mr. Moderator, yes, we are back and ready, but I would ask, there's a lot on the line for both of these teams here. If everybody could just double check to make sure you're muted during these presentations, we'd appreciate it.
Duly noted. Alexandria-Fairfax has shared that they are ready. New Rochelle, you have 5 minutes to present your affirmative rebuttal. When you start speaking, I'm going to start your 5 minutes.
A JAMA Network study examined all U.S. shootings at K-12 schools from 1980 to 2019. Of the 133 shootings, 75% had no armed guard on the scene, which infers that a lack of armed guards renders a school more likely to suffer a school shooting. We are not arguing for a resolution that eliminates all school shootings. Our opponent cannot provide evidence that alternate methods help accomplish this. Instead, we are trying to find the best way to aid against external threats and, if possible, prevent them as well. We are not saying other methods cannot help, but what we are saying is that we want the best possible methods when it comes to protecting our students and staff. We believe that one life being saved is extremely important, and in our cross-checks, our opponent agreed with this as well. Statistics also show that there is a significant increase in the feeling of safety among students and parents when an SRO is present. This is significant because on top of being safe, we want people to feel safe. Our opponent states that teachers' salary can be affected by the payment of SROs, but there is no evidence showing that teachers' pay is directly affected. Teachers' budget is already included in the school's budget, and SRO budget will be added. The opponent also talks about over-policing of colored students from SROs. SROs can avoid this by going through some common sense measures. They would be able to more accurately assess a situation, create strong relationships with local police to implement effective protocol, and have a clear memorandum of their role in schools. Their role wouldn't include responding to school policy, infractions, or disciplinary issues in the classroom, but instead focus clearly on situations that harm the physical safety of the student body. Our opponent talks about an increase in death rates when there is a presence of an SRO, around 2.83. But they say that there is a 2.83 times increase in deaths. What is this 2.83 being multiplied by? This was not clearly stated and therefore has no significance when being multiplied by an unknown variable. The opponent also talks about the over-policing of colored students from SROs.
3 minutes.
It is important to point out that this occurred in the state of Texas, which is one of 50 states. Is this a problem? Yes. But with the proper training and implementing of code of conduct, this will prevent things like this. Our opponent says that schools with armed guards, Our opponent brings up the cost of implementing armed security officers in public schools. I know that some of you out there are parents, and I want you to think, is the opponent really trying to say that there is a point where the cost of protecting the lives of our children are too much? I know that you can agree that you would do anything to protect your child. SROs can reduce the problems associated with having armed officers in their school by taking a handful of common sense measures. Consistent with prior polls, in a 2018 NBC survey, a large majority, 70.2% of the sample endorses the arming of SROs. Doing so means arming a limited number of easily identifiable, well-trained, and knowledgeable officers. Schools need to develop a strong relationship with the chief of police and other police department leaders, and encourage local principals to do the same. If and when there is a crisis, these relationships will be critical. To close, in the opponent's own city of Alexandria, they voted to take SROs out of public schools in May of 2021. Then, in October of 2021, towards the beginning of the school year, they reinstated SROs back into their public school systems due to an increased amount of violence and safety concerns in the schools. On top of this, last month, the Virginia legislators approved having SROs in all of Virginia's public schools. And this is the reason why I urge an affirmative ballot.
Okay, New Rochelle, I'm going to stop your time. You seem to have yielded back 50 seconds of your time. Great job. At this time, the rebuttal rounds require us to go into another breakout room so now that Alexandria-Fairfax can prepare their rebuttal. Brother Hogbrook, we're going to take another break here. We're going to take another 3-minute break. Allow both teams to go into their breakout sessions, and teams will go into our breakout sessions, and Alexandria-Fairfax will come back and be ready to present their rebuttal. Let's go into our breakout rooms. Thanks. Welcome back. An exciting debate round that we've got between the affirmative team, New Rochelle, going against the negative team, Alexandria-Fairfax. The topic is public schools should have armed security officers. We just finished the affirmative rebuttal, and now we're getting ready for Alexandria-Fairfax to present their negative rebuttal. Alexandria-Fairfax. Who will be presenting that negative rebuttal for Alexandria-Fairfax team?
He's approaching now.
Okay. We've got Alexandria-Fairfax preparing to present the negative rebuttal. In the meantime, New Rochelle, are you prepared? Are you back as well? All right, New Rochelle, are you there? Am I off mute? New Rochelle, are you back?
Sorry, we're ready.
Okay, who is we? Is that New Rochelle?
New Rochelle, Matthew Dodd.
Okay, thank you, New Rochelle, for letting us know that you're ready. But we're hoping that as Alexandria-Fairfax is now ready to present their negative rebuttal.
Yes, Eli Boyd is ready to present
Okay, great.
the negative rebuttal for
Alexandria-Fairfax is ready, and New Rochelle is ready. I heard both voices. So Alexandria-Fairfax, you're going to be presenting your negative rebuttal. You've got 5 minutes to do that. Once you start speaking, I'm going to start your time.
Good afternoon. I'm Eli Boyd, and I'm a junior at South County High School in Lauren, Virginia, and I represent the Alexandria-Fairfax Kappa League. Studying the effectiveness of armed school guards is difficult, mainly because these armed officers are not managed by schools, but rather the police department. However, new complex statistical methods are being used to monitor effectiveness. And while our opponents may have you believe that armed officers are effective in mitigating some types of violence in schools, an article from edweek.com indicates that the presence of armed officers in schools increase certain disciplinary outcomes such as suspensions, expulsions, and even arrests. On top of this, a whopping 70% of the National Educators Association, a prestigious organization focused on the improvement of student and teacher, say that arming school personnel with live guns would not effectively decrease gun violence. In addition, NEA.org reported that two-thirds of educators said that they would feel less safe with school personnel being armed. I must add that the fact still stands that people of color and individuals that struggle with mental health issues have always been a target for law enforcement and have always been overrepresented in prisons for centuries. And this fact does not stop at school doors. According to an article from ACLU.org, students of color, as well as students with mental health disabilities, are up to 2 times more likely to be arrested in schools than they are their white and able-minded counterparts are. This literally means that students of color and disability will be targeted by armed law enforcement and subject to unrifled armed arrest both on the street and in their very own school, creating just one more environment for Black, brown, and mentally disabled children to be led down the prison pipeline we all know too well. Earlier, our opponents mentioned that security guards, as well as security cameras, as well as metal detectors, were ineffective in preventing school shootings. And this is simply not true. A comprehensive report from GetSafeandSound.com showed that security cameras not only deter crime, but they help notify authorities when crime is on the rise. During the questioning period, our opponents stated that armed guards specifically can't stop or deter school shootings. And if that is the case, then what is the point? If we can use school funding to increase the training of school counselors and teachers to prevent these incidents, then why use spending to arm guards with weapons that may end up having zero effect? Our opponents also mentioned the fact that security officers would not have to carry guns, but instead would be armed with, and I quote, pepper spray. Yes, we understand that armed doesn't necessarily mean guns, but it doesn't exclude guns. Besides, how effective really is any other weapon against an intruder with a semi-automatic or automatic assault rifle? Allowing weapons in the hands of school guards guarantees the presence of live firearms in learning environments, and that is unacceptable. I have to mention the fact that our opponents seem to be stuck on the fact that Fairfax County schools removed SROs from their schools and reinstilled them in the time period from May of 2021 to October of 2021, which is the period of time where students were not only on summer vacation, but were actually using virtual school to begin with. From the evidence and research that we have provided, it is evident that not only are guns not effective in making schools safer, but they actually make students and teachers feel less safe. In a lot of instances, encourage aggression. Judges, instead of reaction, we need to focus on prevention. Weapons do not belong in schools. I yield back the remainder of my time.
Great job, young man. You yielded back 1 minute and 4 seconds of your time. Judges, you've heard both the affirmative and negative case. You've now heard the affirmative and negative rebuttals. We will now take a last 5-minute breakout room session so both teams can prepare their final closing remarks. Wow, what a tough debate. When we come back, we'll have the negative team present their closing remarks, and then we will have the affirmative team present their closing remarks. Judges, I envy you. I wouldn't envy you at all. You got a tough job, really good cases. Negative team and affirmative team, I'll let you now go into your breakout rooms for 5 minutes. And when you come back, you both have 3 minutes to present your final and closing remarks. Great job, both teams. All right, we're back at it. What a great debate that we've had today, whether public schools should have armed security officers. We've heard from the affirmative team, New Rochelle, and we've also heard from the negative team, Alexandria-Fairfax. Both have presented their cases, their rebuttals to both of their arguments, and now we are in closing remarks. Each team will have 3 minutes to present their closing remarks. The negative team, which is Alexandria-Fairfax, will begin. We'll pause, and then we'll let New Rochelle present their closing remarks. At that time, we'll hear from others that are on the line, poll marks, vice poll marks, parents. There may even be a grandmom or grandpa on the line that says, hey, my grandson did a great job. I want to tell them. And then we'll hear from some of the team members. At that time, the judges will be allowed to get their rubrics together and present the final scores. And then we're going to let you know immediately after that who's going to advance. The negative team, which was Alexandria-Fairfax, you're going to have 3 minutes to present your closing remarks. Are you prepared?
Yes, I am prepared.
All right. And New Rochelle, as soon as Alexandria-Fairfax is done with their closing remarks, you're going to have a chance to present your closing remarks in 3 minutes. Is New Rochelle prepared?
Yes, we are prepared.
Okay. All right, Alexandria-Fairfax, I'm going to start your 3 minutes for your closing remarks as soon as you begin speaking. Go right ahead.
Good afternoon. I am Caleb Rucker. I am a sophomore at West Springfield High School in Springfield, Virginia, and I represent the Alexandria-Fairfax Kappa League. Our opponents have tried to argue that the money spent on SROs to save one life is worth it. But my teammates have shown that more lives, children's lives, would be saved by fairly compensating and hiring more teachers and counselors to deter school shootings. We've shown that armed guards perpetuate a prison-to-pipeline phenomenon, which is disproportionately detrimental to students of color. And equally as important, we've shown that armed guards are simply ineffective and actually do more harm than good. I'm not going to state facts and figures. I believe we've done enough of that already. Instead, I want to impress upon you that America is under attack, not by terrorist groups or white supremacists, but by our own lawmakers and special interest groups. We are under attack by those that choose to use tragedy to push political agendas. Our democracy has been polarized to a point where common sense solutions seem foreign. When you have a leaky faucet, do you put a bucket under the leak and declare victory? Because that is what putting armed guards in schools is, a bucket. When you have a leaky faucet, you get a plumber, someone who's trained to identify and repair the root cause of the problem. That's what a teacher or a counselor is, a trained professional. We need to stop being reactionary and start being strategic. We need more teachers and counselors, not more guns. That's silly. In our research, we found a document published by the FBI entitled The School Shooter, a Quick Reference Guide. It's basically a guide for identifying the traits of a school shooter. Well, if it can be identified, let's spend our money identifying it before it becomes a problem. We've got to get to a point where we are making investments in favor of making payments. You see, when we make decisions like these to put guns in the places where our children spend a third of their day, even if in the hands of trained professionals, we are making payments. We're making payments for not enabling common sense gun control laws. We're making payments for not adequately resourcing our schools. You are making payments for failing us. We've got to get to a point where we're making investments in our schools, investments in our teachers, and investments in our students. And with that, we would like to rest our case. But before we yield any remaining time, we would like to thank our moderator, Mr. and our esteemed judges, Colonel Jackson, Mr. Grady, and Mr. Ford, for volunteering their time. I yield back the remainder of my time.
Great job, young man. Great job, Alexandria-Fairfax. I stopped your time with 15 seconds remaining. Great job. At this time, New Rochelle, you're going to go right into your affirmative closing remarks. You're going to have 3 minutes to do that. Who's going to be presenting those closing remarks for New Rochelle, the affirmative team?
Zachary Tenema, I will be presenting it.
Okay, Zachary, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. All right. 3 minutes is going to start when you start speaking. Go ahead and present your closing remarks.
Hello, judges. The affirmative wins this debate on two grounds, both procedurally and in substance. Our opponent included a team member that asked questions that were not the immediate speaker. This is in clear violation of Rule 9, which requires questions only from the immediate speaker. Our opponent neither acknowledged nor corrected this rule violation. For this reason, equity requires an affirmative victory. Now, for the following reasons, we win on substance. My opponent's third contention states that adding guns adds unnecessary risk to students. However, he gives no significant evidence to support this point or even an example where it's proven. Not only this, but our opponent also brought up the school to prison pipeline, which was completely debunked in our second speech. School security officers would not interfere in learning environments or in disciplinary actions. The negative throughout this debate has ignored this fact, and therefore their entire point is invalid. In the cross-examination, the opponent agreed that if a school security guard will be able to save one life, they are worth it. We proved they were able to, as security guards are proven to deter school shooters. Based on the evidence presented, our plan provides a more optimal safety measure. And when we think about armed officers, what do we think? Defense? Protection? There are many things we could say about armed officers. Being human, they're able to account for how other humans will react, how they will move, how they will make mistakes. This human nature is the barrier that technology-based safety measures simply cannot beat. In times of need, you cannot always rely on technology, but humans, especially security officers, have the drive to protect, and most of the time will pull through. We all know children in public schools. Would you rather have students and staff feel safe or actually be safe in U.S. public schools? Think about all the benefits armed officers can provide to the safety of these students and staff. And as said before, we find money to fund things that are necessary. Judge, is protecting the students and staff not necessary? With this investment, these children will actually be safe and be able to fully recognize their future. Judge, as a society, aren't we tired of seeing government officials come up and offer their condolences to people who lost their children during these events? Arming security guards is the best way to prevent these from happening in U.S. public schools. Our opponent,
30 seconds.
Judge, our opponent's own city of Alexandria has removed SROs, but voted to reinstate them due to an increase in school violence. Not only that, but the Virginia legislature has passed a bill to put SROs in all public Virginia schools. And for the aforementioned reasons, we win this debate and urge a negative ballot. I yield my time.
That is your time. Great job. All right. All right. Wow. Great job. Great job. Everybody give them a round. Way to go, man. Way to go. Both teams have done a great job. Congratulations to both teams, New Rochelle and Alexandria-Fairfax, for advancing all the way to the semi-championship round. I've got judges probably trying to figure out who's going to win this thing. They're looking at their rubrics right now. Brother Harbrook, I don't know if we can, how we do this. We want to allow the judges to have some time to work on their rubrics. If there are others that are on the line right now that would like to share some congratulations with both teams, Brother Harbrook, let me know how we want to proceed with that. If you highlight them when they start speaking, or if you want to call names out. Are there Providence poll marks, or any, not Providence poll marks, but any other chapter poll marks? Anyone there want to speak?
Poll mark for New Rochelle White Plains alumni is here.
Okay, Brother Polmar, thank you. Yep, looks like Brother Harbrook has a way to highlight you there, maybe.
Let me know when I can begin.
Brother Harbrook, how should we do it? You've got, are you there? Okay.
Okay, thank you, Brother Edwards, and judges and all that are in attendance. As we just witnessed, two great teams in this debate challenge, and certainly one team will move forward. But I would dare to say that we have two winners in a sense of the preparation, the performance, and the great job these young men have done. So I just want to, give kudos to all those that were part of preparing them, these young men for working hard, and all the parents for supporting, and of course the National Guard Right Committee for this initiative. I think these skills will be valuable to these young men, not just now, but in their future. So congratulations to both team and all those involved. And on behalf of New Rochelle White Plains Alumni Chapter, we just want to, thank for this opportunity for us to present our young men, our young scholars and Kappa leaguers. Great job, NRWP. And God bless you all. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
Okay. Again, just want to say my name is Dr. Kenneth Taylor, pole mark of Alexandria. Participants, families, this debate, just like all the others, was an excellent display of our young Black men and the power of their voice. We're actually at our frat house today, and we're having a 50-year pinning ceremony to celebrate brothers of Kappa Alpha Psi that have been in our fraternity for over 50 years. And as we sit there, we're listening to stories of their last 50 years and all of their achievements. And so it just gives me great joy to listen to these young men speak about their futures and speak about what is to come for them. So I just want to say congratulations to both teams. Thank you to the brothers of the New Rochelle Alumni Chapter, Brother Polmark and Brothers All. And we look forward to what's next. So congratulations to you all for your achievements so far. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Paul Marks. Thank you so much for your kind words and comments. Might there be any other brothers or parents that may want to speak? I know, I just know somebody's mama's on this line. I just know it. Are there any other parents or brothers that want to speak and share their congratulations to both teams?
Yep. Brother Edwards,
Yeah.
Brother Schuler from New Rochelle White Plains.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can't hear you, and I'm hoping that the camera will flash to you. Yeah, there we go. Now I can see you. You look great.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon to all the brothers of Kappa Alpha Psi Incorporated, to the family, friends that have joined the call, to all the silhouettes that may be on the call, to the Divine Nine that may be on the call, and to definitely the Kappa Leaguers, and to the Alexandria-Fairfax, Virginia alumni. We want to thank you for this opportunity. Oh, let me not forget also the National Guard Right Committee for putting this together. It's indeed been a beautiful journey thus far for the young men, just seeing them elevate to a new level, for them to compete, for them to learn from one another, but more importantly, to learn about the topics that are near and dear to our hearts. We really appreciate everything that everyone has done up until this point. And as we continue to move forward, we still are excited about our centennial year. This is 100 years of Guide Right, and we look forward to meeting all of our fellow Kappa Leaguers in St. Louis in July. So with that, I'll make sure I'll allow time for I know our Kappa Leaguers want to say something. I know we have parents who want to say something, but I'll let you moderate that, Brother Edwards, and I'll give you back the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. Good to see you. Thanks for those comments, encouraging to those students. I mean, really, the ability to be able to speak and argue in times when it's needed is definitely something that I think, and I think we all would agree that young men of color need, and to see it happen before our eyes continuously every year and have your supporters appreciate it. I got a text from one of the judges. Looks like one of the, I won't say who that is. I won't put pressure on the other two judges, but looks like we've got comments back at least from one of the judges. And I think I'm getting those ellipses coming in from the other debate that's simultaneously occurring, that they may have their winner on their end. So are there any parents or any of the students that will go to the Lord?
Brother Edwards?
Yes, yes.
How you doing? Brother Piper, Centennial Alumni Chapter, Guy Wright Chairman.
Great. Go right ahead, please.
How you doing? I'd like to say good afternoon to all the brothers online. Silhouettes D9, Paul Marks. I'm on to support my nephew, who's part of the New Rochelle White Plains. I watched the debate. You guys did an outstanding job. Both sides did an outstanding job. You put forth a lot of good work, a lot of good effort, showed that you guys were all prepared. I'm very proud of all the work that you guys have done. And I want to say thank you to both teams. No matter who gets the nod, you both won in my eyes. That's it.
Awesome. Thanks so much for being there.
Hey, good afternoon, Brother Mike. How are you doing today?
Hey.
Awesome. Hey, this is Brother Herb Marshall, Guy Wright Director, Alexandria-Fairfax. I just want to say, hey, thank you to all the parents, first of all the parents that are on the line that even take the time to even consider to even, watch this and view this phenomenal. It's going down in history. I gotta say, it's going down in history. It has to go down in history somewhere in our archives in Kappa Alpha Psi. This debate challenge, the entire debate challenge, has been awesomely planned out, projected, and then look what we have for the top teams now debating. And as I say, for the top teams debating, I'm not saying that discarding the other teams that were debating, because I sat and watched all of them, and it just amazes me to think where we come from to where it is now. And then, as you all are probably thinking, where is this going to go? It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome in the years to come. So with all that, I'd like to say thanks to all the students, all the coaches, and again, all the parents, and again, that magnificent committee that's sitting up there with Brother Burnett and Brother Mike, Brother Scott, and Brother Crawford. Awesome job. I really appreciate it, and thanks.
Thanks, Brother Marshall. Thanks so much for those kind words. Are there any parents, or do we want to move on into some of the debaters? Alexandria-Fairfax, do you have any students that want to speak to their experience in this debate challenge? I do have one result in from one judge, an official result in from one judge. I'm waiting on the remaining two, but there's that team from Alexandria-Fairfax. I like all of your haircuts too, man. I wish I had it. Let's hear from the team. Go right ahead. We'll give you guys got it. New Rochelle, get your team ready, but we'll go ahead and jump in with Alexandria-Fairfax. Go ahead and speak. You got the mic. Tell us about your experience and anything you want to share from the team.
All right. My name is Caleb Rucker, and I'm the debate team captain of the Alexandria-Fairfax Kappa League. This debate challenge has really been very hard and exciting, and this debate against New York was no exception. I'd like to thank the team for a great challenge and a great debate, and I'd like to thank my teammates, because if it weren't for them, then we wouldn't have a debate. And I'd like to thank Mr. Herb and Mr. Ted for creating this debate team, and I am glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, this has definitely been quite a journey. Each debate, was an uphill battle for us. But I think that we only made it here because we gave it our all. We listened to our coaches, Mr. Brown, Mr. Marshall, and we worked together as a team. And I'm honestly just happy to be here, happy to have this opportunity to debate and compete. And I just thankful to be here. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, my name is Samson Boyd. Yeah, so like my colleague said, this debate was tough, but it was really fun to have our meetings, to be coming up with our rebuttal, our opening, our closing. I want to thank our opponents for a great debate. I think this was by far the most fun debate that I've had, and I just want to thank our our debate leaders, our coaches, Mr. Ted and Mr. Herb, for bringing us to the Kappa house, for setting this all up, putting the team together. But and I'd like to thank the judges and the moderator for being here and volunteering your time. Thank you.
Awesome.
On Matthew, I'd like to say thank you to our opponents for delivering us the most intense debate we've had to date. I say thank you to Mr. Ted and Mr. Herb for keeping us on topic and making sure we got ready for this debate, because without them, it would have been a blowout. This team really brought everything they had. I feel like we had to bring everything we had to have a good debate with them. Thank you.
Brother Evans, if I can jump in on the tail of that, Ted Brown, Kappa League chair here at AF, I just want to say that I hope that these two teams get a chance to fellowship with each other face to face at some time, because they've, like Matthew just mentioned, I know we went through a lot. I'm assuming they went through a lot as well, and they have so many things in common that it would be great if they can just get together and fellowship.
Absolutely. You guys mentioned that you got 50-year brothers event going on there. Can you just imagine these young men who are in high school making that journey maybe one day to Kappa Alpha Psi?
That's right.
And then being there 50 years from now saying, hey, remember when I debated you in high school on our Kappa, and look where we are now. Great young men, citizens of the universe, great Kappa men. And this is what we're doing and trying. And man, it's just unbelievable. And I agree with you. We're going to work on that.
Great.
We'll go over to Alice, New Rochelle. New Rochelle, if you can get your team together and get them on the mic.
We got everyone here. You want to get in frame? Get in frame. We got everyone here.
Hey, I love it, man.
Yeah.
Go ahead and kill it. Let's jump right in.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'd just like to thank all my teammates. You got Jared, Dylan, Matt, Zach.
He doesn't represent
and the parents that got us here, that raised us, the coaches that volunteered all their time in helping us to prepare for this. This was a great debate. I want to also thank you, the judges and the moderator, the opponent, for being here. And I'd also like to say, agreeing with them, that this was the most fun debate that I've ever had. And it was a real challenge. So
yeah, honestly, first of all, I want to thank the opponents, because it really was a fun debate. It was challenging. I would be lying if I said it wasn't challenging. Y'all brought up some powerful points. We brought up some powerful points. I feel like it was one of the most intense debates we've had. I feel like if we get the chance, I definitely want to debate again, because this was definitely a great time. And I think that's it. I'm not really a speaker like that. Bring up Matt.
Hi, my name is Matthew Dodd, and honestly, I'm just so grateful for the opportunity to be here and debate with the opponent from Virginia. Because honestly, I feel like nothing has really challenged me to think as hard and to really problem solve as much as debate has. And I just recently was inducted into the Kappa League, and joining the debate team really helped me find some people that I can really connect with, and I really connect with my teammates as brothers. And I'm so grateful to them. I'm so grateful to this opportunity. I'm so grateful to our leaders and coaches for advocating and helping us through this journey. And I'm extremely grateful for this.
I'd like to thank everyone who came to watch, and I'd like to say both teams faced extreme adversity, which from going to debating in person to now being on debating virtual. I'd like to thank the judges and moderator. If I had a chance to do it again, I would do it again.
I just want to thank the judges, the moderators, and the other team for allowing us to have this debate today and giving us a great challenge. I'm sure all of us have grown so much from the past couple of months that we've been practicing. And I hope that we get to do this again and just continue to grow with each other.
All right.
All right. All right. We are not to put any pressure on anybody. We have scores in from 2 judges. So far, it is a split decision. We are waiting on the next judge to share their scorecard. It is tight, I tell you. We're waiting. The other debate is already over. They have announced their winner. From the other bracket, where you had the Northern Province and Belleville O'Fallon debating. In that debate that just ended a few seconds ago while we're waiting on our last judge, they debated transgender athletes should be allowed to compete against cisgender athletes. Northern Province was the affirmative team and Belleville O'Fallon was the negative team. And in that round, Belleville O'Fallon advances on to the championship round. Belleville O'Fallon advances on to the championship round. I am waiting on one more judge here to give me their, I'm not going to say he or she, I'm just going to say their scorecard. Wait a minute. I just got that scorecard in. I'm going to double check everything here. Looks accurate. All right. Wow. In the semi-championship debate, where we debated public schools that have armed security officers, there were 2 teams. New Rochelle was the affirmative team. Alexandria-Fairfax was the negative team. In a 2-1 decision, everybody's ready. In a 2-1 decision, Alexandria-Fairfax, the negative team, advances. Alexandria-Fairfax, the negative team, advances to the championship debate. Congratulations to Alexandria-Fairfax. Congratulations to New Rochelle. Congratulations to New Rochelle. Great team, great effort by both teams. Great effort. All right. Let me now speak to Alexandria-Fairfax. Great job. Alexandria-Fairfax, let me just get one representative for you to speak for your team, and then New Rochelle will give you a moment, and you'll have one representative as well. Negative team, Alexandria-Fairfax.
All right. I'm Caleb Brooker again, and I would really like to thank the judges for going in our favor. Oh my gosh. Oh my
I understand it's overwhelming, man. I get it.
I'm just speechless that we won. It was very tight. I actually thought that we might not make it, but I'm very surprised that we made it. But we're going to St. Louis. Let's go.
All right. Great job, Alexandria-Fairfax. New Rochelle, do you have a representative? Congratulations to both teams. New Rochelle, you did great as well. Any congratulatory remarks or comments? Good job, young man.
No, I just want to say thank you to the judges and just everyone involved in this competition, and just want to congratulate the other team. This was a great debate, and good job to them.
Great job. That's the one thing about men of wisdom. We can argue or disagree to agree and still have sportsmanship all in it. And both teams exhibited that, some things that even grown men and others can't do. At this moment, we congratulate both teams, and we also give high praise to the Alexandria-Fairfax team for their advancement against New Rochelle and moving on to the championship. I see Brother Maddox. Brother Maddox, let me certainly give it over to you in the comments.
Good evening, brothers.
Yeah.
Good evening, brother moderator, brother Paul Mark. We served together as Paul Mark some time ago, brother Edwards.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
At this time, I want to certainly congratulate each of our teams, both New Rochelle, White Plains alumni, brothers, some good brothers from that chapter, and I'm definitely sure that Kappa League is just as well prepared because of brothers like Brother Andre Early, and brothers like Steve Robinson, and so many brothers that I would fail to call at this point. But I also want to congratulate each of them, both the Alexandria-Fairfax alumni chapter, it's Mark, Brother Dr. Taylor, as well as definitely the coaches, Brother Herb Marshall and Ted Brown. But to the entire God Right committees, from Brother Burkett on down to the provinces. You all are winners, young Kappa Leaguers. You are the future of you are our future. You're the future what we're looking forward to as we began this process of phasing down and lifting you guys up. We just witnessed Black minds dialoguing on issues that are extremely important. Several of the young men spoke about policy decisions and political decisions being made, and an attack on democracy. This issue was very, very prevalent today because what we find as adults, we many of us didn't have to be in a position where we were told how to get home safe, other than just head home. But we recognize that we want to make sure that issues in school are seriously addressed, as well as issues on the street. But we also want to make sure that our young men are very well and capably prepared. As we look just in Buffalo, New York last weekend, I said to some folks, I was on a panel discussing such an issue, and it said it's disturbing that a white boy who pulls a gun and kills 10 people, he get captured, but a Black man getting pulled over by the police stands a greater chance of getting killed. So I say to the God Right and Kappa League Committee, preparing these young men to think and critically think is so important. So I say to each of you today, all of the teams are winners. Unfortunately, somebody had to rise to the top. And on behalf of the Eastern Province, the brothers of the Eastern Province, we congratulate the Alexandria-Fairfax, Virginia alumni chapter, Kappa League, for a job well done. Thank you, brothers.
Thank you, brother. And with that, we'd like to close out. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Have a blessed and wonderful Sunday, and have a great week. Great job, young men. Pound new pound to the day we die. Great job. Thanks, everybody.